welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB. This is MTGNerdGirl, and we're here to do a Q&A, something I haven't done very often, and something that we thought would be fun to do together, a Q&A where fans on Twitch can ask whatever questions, content creation, Magic the Gathering, the things that we kind of have in common. You're into Limited, I'm into Constructed.
You're into YouTube, I'm more onto Twitch.
Yep, so we hit a lot of different bases, and I think it'll be fun. So that's what we're here to do.
Great.
Get ready to enroll in Strixhaven University with our back-to-school promotion. Take 15% off all Mystical Archive singles and receive a free pair of CovertGoBlue and MTGNerdGirl's exclusive tokens when you use the promo code B2S at checkout. The promotion ends May 2nd. So head over to CoolStuffInc.com. Cool stuff in stock.
So we're just going to let chat kind of, roll in with the questions. You guys can see them here, so you'll be able to understand what we're responding to. We'll try to, read them out loud sometimes as well. Whenever there's a lull in the conversation, we'll be going on CGB's post where a lot of you guys on YouTube have asked some really awesome questions. And we're going to be giving you guys, some will be directed straight to CGB, some will be directed to me, some will be kind of a cumulative experience that we've had given our different knowledge. So yeah, let's just kick it right off. CGB, this one's going to be for you. Who is your favorite commander?
Who is my favorite commander? So I haven't been playing Commander that long, just since September, and I've played with a number of different decks. Ah, man. The very first thing I played with was Omnath. Omnath is a stupid broken card that shouldn't exist, but it was really, really fun. Like, my first game in the playgroup, I turned for Ulamogd, the Ceaseless Hunger, and they were immediately like, who is this guy and what is this nonsense? So the best memories I have so far in Commander, some of the most ridiculous games were with Omnath, the 4-color Omnath, Locus of Creation.
Okay. I don't really have an answer because I haven't played so few EDH games and I don't have any like EDH decks of my own. So, I mean, I was on game nights. I played, one game there, and we played 3 games here, and I think I've played 1 game in the wild, so nothing too crazy. So I will reserve
can I rephrase?
Sure.
Do you have a favorite legendary creature from Magic? One that, I don't know, connected with you in some way?
Every set, because I'm a limited player, I get super attached to like one card in a set, and then once it rotates out of like the current set, I no longer care about it.
Because like, you're done.
It like no longer exists. Yeah. Because there's no going back and building a deck with it, so that's not really like a thing.
Okay.
Someone said you were on a game of game nights. Yeah, I was. I don't exactly remember the episode number, but I could probably find that out for you.
It came out in July of 2019. That's what I remember.
Is MTG your favorite card game? That's an easy yes for me.
Yes, 100%. I don't even really play other ones.
Not Magic or content created, but what's your favorite alcoholic drink?
Ooh, my favorite alcoholic drink. When I'm out, I don't drink when I go out very often. So when I'm out, I drink like I mean it, So I order Long Island's, which usually get the job done quickly.
It does. Sometimes they're a little too sweet for me because I know they use a lot of the like simple syrup stuff. That's why I don't usually do it. I'll drink a lot of like Irish mules, or I love sours. How did you choose CovertGoBlue?
Well, I like to say that the name chose me. I believe it or not, the first time I streamed was on my Xbox with a Kinect. Like, that was my first streaming experience and what I registered my Twitch account with. And when I created my username handle on Xbox, it suggested CovertGoBlue because I was playing a lot of Perfect Dark and NCAA Football 2013 as the University of Michigan. So I assume the Covert came from Perfect Dark and the Go Blue came from Michigan. And that was the name it suggested to me, was CovertGoBlue. And that's the first thing I ever streamed with. And I never got around to changing it. Never rebranded. Yeah,
12-year-old nerd girl made MTGNerdGirl, and I always felt like I wanted to change it because, it's kind of a dumb name. But then every time I thought about it, I was like, well, rebranding is too hard. And then I'll do it later, and it just gets harder and harder and harder, and now it's like impossible to rebrand.
Yep.
Favorite color in Magic? I assume yours is just snap blue.
Blue.
Easy blue.
Easy blue. How about you?
As a limited player, it changes every set. I get that question so much, but again, it really does change depending on, you know, like Boros plays very differently than Lorehold, right? So your play style is a little bit different in limited than it is. Like, you could say I'm a blue player because blue plays very similarly throughout all constructed formats, more or less. Like, I'm sure you could change it some, but it's got a theme, right?
You're a blue player? Hard eyes.
I was
Editor had the hard eyes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
So I'm more of like a tempo player. I like the cards that like tap or bounce but allow you to still be very aggressive. So I often do like blue and limited because of that strong tempo feel, but I don't like to play a lot of counter Magic. So I'm more interested in like your pre-release card, like the Frostlinks types things, or the bounce mages, you know, bounce a card, draw a spell. I like those. But I'm also down for some good old Rakdos, Boros beatdown decks in limited too. Who do you think is the best Magic player right now?
The best Magic player
That's tough
right
one.
now. I'm going to say Paulo Vitor Damaderosa because he's still the world champ and has been #1 ranked in the MPL most of this season.
I would also probably say that, only because I don't follow it too much, but that is the person I tend to hear the most from. I was also on the same esports team with him for a while, so I have to like cheer for the home team.
Gotcha.
Not currently anymore, but he was always one of my teammates.
Nice.
You want to pick one or two from your community?
We have a lot of them. I feel a little bad picking this one because it's definitely just for me, but it's the most upvoted.
No, please.
Will your channel end when Yorion rotates? No. No. The channel will not end because Yorion rotates. We will go on. We will survive. I don't know how, but there will be another.
A single tear will be shed when it or he'll just become a historic player.
There will be another. Shh. Okay.
Sorry, headphone wearers. Yeah, no, don't worry about answering things that are just for you, because this is on my Twitch channel, but it'll be on your YouTube. I imagine there's going to be a bit of both.
Yeah.
So yeah, he'll just play historic Sky Noodle until the end of time. I imagine like his coffin will have like an engraved Sky Noodle on it or something.
We'll just blink it and start over.
They'd be like, why won't this coffin shut? Oh, it's got 50,000 copies of Yorion inside.
The fans will leave a mighty tribute of Yorion cards at the grave. Oh my goodness. What else we got?
Oh, someone's asking how old you are.
How old do you think I am?
The internet says you're what?
63?
The internet says I'm 51.
That sounds appropriate. That sounds perfect.
Yeah, the internet knows everything. They would never lie to you.
I'll put it on the record. On a special date this year, there will be an age reveal episode.
Whoa.
Yep, there will be an age reveal this year. You'll just have to subscribe and wait, and you'll know. You'll know.
I didn't actually know you were going to reveal.
Yeah.
I've offered to reveal a few times, and my chat's like, no, it's too fun not knowing.
Well, I mean, I'm going to string them along, of course.
For a while, because I used to get it so much, and I would like tease those people, and then I just started saying a different age every single time I was asked, and then regulars would start to like laugh. It's pretty funny.
Nice. I'll go ahead and answer when are you coming to Brazil? And I'm going to answer this as when am I coming to space, your city, your country, etc. When the world changes a bit, I'm really excited to get out and do some traveling. And when I do, I will try to meet fans as I go around. I don't know when I'll get to the place that you are, but I'm going to try to, more often when traveling, let people know where I'm going to be. So hopefully that will pick up near the end of this year or next year as the world heals from the situation that we're in.
Yeah, we actually have, since we've been doing this co-ops, we've talked about doing a couple of like joint traveling things, because I also wanted to do some traveling and take NerdMom. We stopped doing Christmas or birthdays, and we were supposed to go somewhere once a year. as, you know, a joint celebration to make more memories as opposed to have more stuff. But then COVID hit. So, you know, what if we traveled to like a GP, we worked for the weekend, and then Gina and Nerd Mom could go hike and do exciting...
The things they like to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then we would meet up, and then you go do husband-wifey stuff, and then Nerd Mom and I will go and explore. It'll be great.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. So hopefully I'll be out getting to see some of you in the near future. I hope so. Join the Discord. The best way to find out where I'm going and what I'm doing is to join the Discord. Link in description if you're watching on YouTube.
And Twitter. Twitter is good for like both.
Yep.
I imagine if you were to go to Brazil or something, you would post it on Twitter.
Yep, following both of us on Twitter is a good way to keep up with those things.
Have either of you ever been to Europe? Yes, right before COVID. He's been all over the place on his own. I left the United States for the first time right before COVID. I went to the Pro Tour in Spain, and then we went to Italy for a week after that.
I got to be your arm candy in Europe and show you around. It was fun.
Yeah. So we went to Barcelona for 1 week, and then we went to Italy for 1 week, and then back to Barcelona for a day or two, and then flew back out. So it was really fun. That was my first time out of the States.
Yeah. Definitely traveled to Europe a few times, been around several places there, really enjoyed Germany, enjoyed Paris. Italy's always nice. London has its ups and downs, but is still a cool place. So, yeah, been there a few times.
Ooh, how much of your streamer work is managing, building your community outside live on camera time? So that's probably very different for the two of us.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to take it first?
Oh man, so I spend probably about 4 hours a day outside of stream time. I probably average either shipping giveaways, networking, you know, keeping up with calendars and social media and all of that. Like I have a Google Doc where I, you know, have an up-to-date calendar that takes me a little bit of time to update weekly. Yeah, there's just a ton. So in addition to an 8 to 12 hour stream daily, I tend to do about 4 hours of off camera time work. Whether that, you know, some days it would be networking, one day it's like 3 hours of shipping. It just depends.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I haven't stopwatched how much time I spend on community and tasks outside of when I'm making the recorded content or being live, but it creeps in so many ways because you receive so many DMs across so many platforms, and you have to check in and see what happened on your Twitter today, and you have to check in with your Discord, and then you have to, I mean, if I remember to check in on Instagram, that's nice, and I check my comments on YouTube pretty often, and I've even had to get somebody to help me manage YouTube comments because it's so much, and I think people don't really realize how overwhelming it can be when it comes at you from all those different sources all day, every day. But it's something to manage.
I used to always have like a list of it. I would try and do one thing a day. Today I'm going to set up Patreon. This was when I first started. Tomorrow I'm going to, you know, work on the Discord. I'm going to clean up the roles or whatever. And let me tell you, that list is literal never ending, because by the time you get to the bottom, the first thing needs to be redone. Yep. And there is no like bottom, because something can always be better, can be changed. You know, the channel points that we use here has, you know, companies go out of business and they start new companies and something is better and you're having to change all of those things. So it is a never ending list of things that can be better, and there's not enough times in the day.
And I mean, it's not exactly on point, but it's one reason I'm really grateful to have other streamers to talk to, because I can't keep up with all this stuff. And if I get 1 or 2 tips from you that help make my content better, it goes so far because I don't have time to research every single new thing that's going on with streaming all the time.
Yeah, and I know this has happened between me and you and with me and other streamers, that like they will recommend me for a sponsorship or be like, hey, these people reached out to me, maybe you might want to poke them and see if, you know, they're interested. So like it's just impossible to have enough feelers out. So if you have like a tight-knit community of other creators that can kind of also let you know what's happening on their side of the spider web, then you can kind of get a little bit more done, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of an interesting question if you might want to field. How did we meet?
How did we meet? Let's see. I mean, was it... I feel like we had interacted a few times. I remember once I sent you some you got to give away some sleep pants from a website I ran for a Christmas giveaway, but we just kind of knew each other.
Was that was after though? Wasn't it?
I don't know. I thought it wasn't, but maybe it was.
I think that was after.
We both kind of knew of each other, but we got to know each other mostly when you got invited to Mythic Invitational, and I did not get invited, but I thought since it was a weird duo best of one-ish format, and since I'm I play a ton of best of one, I thought I could be helpful. So I offered my assistance, basically, like I will help you guys prepare to a number of streamers. And you were one of the streamers who responded and was like, yes, I would really like to do some playtesting sessions and see what you think. And we got together and played a few games, and I feel like we played every day for like 2 weeks. You just always kept wanting to play more.
Yeah, so I think we ended up doing like 5 sessions or so over like a week-ish, week and a half. Depending on, stream allowances. Now, I know you said that you reached out to a couple people, but I was the only one to really like take the bait, right? To like really actually get together and play. A few of them took some information, but didn't play. So I'll tell you guys right now where CGB became a lifelong, where I took him seriously and knew that he had something that he could teach me one way or another, because I'm a limited player, so I don't really pay attention very much to Constructed. He showed up to our first session, gave me a link to a Google Doc that had every single MPL player and all the invitees on the Google Doc, and he trolled all of their Twitters and looked at what decks they were posting that they were practicing and playing. And he's like, oh, I saw this person play this deck on stream, this person was playing this deck on stream, and that was how he was preparing, and he brought that to the table to help me playtest. And I was just like, holy shit, this guy's doing his homework for my benefit. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I just thought that was above and beyond the call of playtest duty.
Thanks. Yeah, that spreadsheet got it was close to being like, it was pretty accurate at the end of the day. Yep.
Because, he saw Ben S was like, oh, this deck is so good on his Twitter, and boom, surprise, that's the deck he played at the, event. And I would have probably not done that.
It was a good amount of work, but yeah, I wanted to see the streamers succeed, because it seemed kind of like Wizards was, it seemed like kind of a publicity stunt, the biggest Magic prize of all time. But here's a bunch of streamers, and here's a bunch of the best players in the world who have been working together and kind of preparing in this hive mind for years. And I thought I could help some streamers get a kind of a little bit better shot at them, and it worked. You got, what was it, top 8? Yeah, and you made day 2, and you did really well, so that was awesome. And then we were friends.
CGB, why do you play best of 1 as opposed to best of 3?
I like best of 1. I hated it when I first started playing it, but I started playing it with Magic Duels. When I moved from Indiana, where I was living, to the middle of nowhere in Michigan, I was cut off from the competitive scene. I was cut off from my friends who played Magic, and the only way I had to play Magic against other people was Magic Duels on the Xbox. And the only format it offers is best of 1. So at first when I played it, I didn't like it, and things would go through my head like, if I had a sideboard, I would crush that person, right? But since it was my only option, I played it more and more, and I just got really used to it, and now I'm really happy with it. There's something kind of beautiful in the search for the perfect 60 cards or the perfect 80 cards, as opposed to taking time between games and trying to like master your individual matchups. And I like it. And it appears that there's a good market for it, since most people who have competitive experience or are fans of the competitive scene, they dwell in best of 3, but there's a lot more fans who are interested in just kind of Magic as a competitive outlet in best of 1. So I think they like it. I think a lot of you guys enjoy the best of 1.
I will say, as a live streamer, I know, maybe you could do best of 3 a little bit easier on YouTube with editing and stuff. Mm-hmm. But as a live streamer, it's really convenient to be able to do one game and then stop, do your giveaways, do your shout outs, thank people for subs and donations without having to worry about a best of 3 format. Also, best of 1 is a little bit more conducive to more aggressive games, so your games don't last as long, which is good when you're live streaming, just because there is a lot going on, a lot of multitasking. So yeah, that's very convenient.
I'll say that's also a fun part of it. Most best of 1 players like aggro. Being somebody who can play a lot of control decks in best of 1, I think gives my channel a different angle that most people don't do. So
Yeah, that's great.
what is the top behavior you'd like to have chat do more? What is one that you'd like to prevent chat from doing? Ooh, I'm going to use YouTube comments for mine because I spend a lot more time on YouTube. So this is going to be an interesting one because there is a trend on YouTube for people to leave comments, and they often say comment for the algorithm because they want to help the YouTube algorithm, because it's been a long-standing thing that the YouTube algorithm likes comments, and the more comments you have, the better you do. But that doesn't really work if they're all the same comment. Like if it's just for the algorithm, it sees the count, but YouTube mostly ignores that. And so does Google. Google's search algorithm is one of the best ways to use your comment section to try to get more traffic. So instead of leaving comments along the lines of for the algorithm, if anybody wants to do that because they like supporting the channel, I would encourage you to leave a comment with like your favorite card or a deck list that you've been playing. Because those kind of things, like if the name of a card, like helps people searching for things about that card possibly find the video in the Google algorithm and in the YouTube algorithm. So instead of kind of the generic for the algorithm comment because you don't know what to say, just leave like your favorite card that you've been playing lately or your favorite card from the deck that I'm playing. That would help a lot more.
Interesting. For me, something I wish people would not do. That's tough. I really hate when I love people to play with me, and a lot of streamers don't like that. I'm okay with backseat gaming to some extent. I hate it when people come in, they say things after the fact in partial sentence fragments, and they don't make sense. And then they expect me to have made their plays while micromanaging me with sentences that are not sentences. Things like that get really flustering. I actually don't tilt when I play Magic very much, and I've been kind of known for like, people are like, how are you not mad when you've been mana screwed for the last 3 drafts? And I'm like, that's fine. I get really pissed, and I only get into a bad mood when chat is being kind of bullheaded like that. So I wish, speak in complete sentences if you're trying to like tell me what to do.
Yeah, for sure. Please, a little punctuation or a little more explanation goes a long way. And if you're not in a position to do that in a timely manner, like you're trying to type too fast on mobile and there's a delay, sometimes it's better to let it go. I know that you guys want to be helpful, but some comments can be like more. It's harder for us to figure out what you want.
It's actually detrimental. Yeah, I spend more time trying to figure it out than figuring out the correct play. Any good health tips for streamers and those who sit all day? Do the opposite of everything I do. I eat like shit, and I literally sit at this desk for like 16 hours a day. I walk to the fridge twice a day, and that's it.
But how do you stay so fit? Just lucky?
Good genes,
incredible
I guess.
Metabolism.
Yeah.
I make about an hour a day to walk. I just walk around outside, spend time outside.
Relationship advice: marry your high school sweetheart and be a hermit that is also married to Twitch chat. My relationship is far more abusive.
And to be clear, she meant that for me, that would be the advice. Not that we're high school sweethearts.
No, he married his high school sweetheart, and I married Twitch chat, which is far less recommended.
Twitch chat is it's they can be a little abusive sometimes. It's kind of crazy, but you've got a great community. They're super supportive, all in all.
Is Shark Typhoon a good card?
Yes. Was there more to that? No. Get your shark tokens.
You guys can win some signed shark tokens tonight, possibly.
And if you're watching this later, get it at coolstuffinc.com, promo code CGB5, or do the special promotion. The advertisement was at the start of the video. Watch it again if you don't remember.
Are gaming chairs actually comfortable, or are they a conspiracy?
A little of both. A little of both.
I think if you've got good money for I used to be sponsored by DX Racer.
Yeah.
I bought this one and I liked it. Long before I was sponsored. And then I got the Tempo Storm one, and then I got this one from our charity event that we did. I like them. Some are a little bit more comfy than others. I've got basically 3 different levels of DX Racer.
My wife got me a clutch chair, one of the $400 chairs for my birthday last year. It is incredibly comfortable. I have to say, I thought I would be in the blue-white Extra Life chair because I won it shortly after she got it for me. I thought I would be in the blue-white chair because of the color scheme and because the charity was a really fun event. But honestly, that clutch chair is incredible.
Yeah, I think so. This one, the one we won, is actually a little less. This is a cheaper quality than the Tempo Storm one I had. The Tempo Storm one I had was like their deluxe edition, and it was actually really nice. I will say your butt kind of molds to the shape of the seat that you're in, because I used to have this and it felt fine. This is a smaller, cheaper economy version. And then I went to the Tempo Storm one, and then I left Tempo Storm, so I went back to this one, and my butt felt too big. So like your butt is like a turtle. It grows to the size of its environment. It
tries to fill all of the space. So yep, be mindful of that. And I'm sure that will only continue as our content creation journey continues. As you hear it squeaking over here as I move around.
Turtle butt noise.
Turtle butt noises, yep.
I have a turtle butt. What do you want from me? I was like, how did I fit in this chair before?
Here's one. So here's one from my YouTube post, if you also want to find one while I look at it. How do you get the motivation to upload Magic every day and when Standard is stale? The best trick I have is I try to record a lot of content early in a format when it is not stale. So I will do a lot of like 8 to 12 hour days of just recording videos. And then I have a ton of content so that when I do finally get burnt out or when I'm getting tired of what's going on, I can put those up for a week and take some time off and try some other things in Magic. Also, I've been a little bit looser with my schedule on YouTube. I used to only put up a Standard video every day. You guys who have been watching know that I've done Historic and Brawl and tried other formats, and I've played MTG Legends, and I've just put up some different kinds of things that I also do during those time periods when Standard is a little bit stale to me. But yeah, my biggest secret is I expect Standard to get stale. I'm not surprised when it gets stale. I prepare for those weeks by giving myself a way out.
I do a similar thing with the streaming. So I'll stream a ton of Limited when the set first comes out. I'll put YouTube videos on Standard. And then you'll notice my YouTube kind of dies down. I post a lot less because nobody cares about the draft format anymore. You know, all of the archetypes or themes have been kind of, you know, snuffed out. And I actually will then stream some other stuff here on Twitch. I do a fair amount more variety than I used to, and I really, really enjoy it. Here's a quick question that I think is very good for those of you guys who are interested in the content creation side. For a new streamer, what do you recommend that they invest in? Now, I know I started with a setup so bad, I deleted my VODs because I was embarrassed.
Wow. I have thought every day about deleting my VODs.
Some of them, they were so bad. Yep. I had like a Turtle Beach headset. Oh my gosh.
Oh, me too.
It sounded so bad.
I also had a Turtle Beach headset.
I would say, number one, I know some people stream with one monitor. What is wrong with you? Like, that is not okay. Make sure you have two monitors, even if it's a crappy piece of junk. Like, I have a monitor I'm sure that I can give you.
Yeah, I connected a small TV to my computer to be my second monitor, and immediately there was a huge difference in just a lot of things that it's hard to say exactly what. Just trust me, it'll make a huge difference. My wife just switched to 2 monitors after trying to tough it out on 1 monitor for a long time, and she's a lot happier, and she just did another stream and enjoyed it, so it's a big deal.
So I would say monitor and probably the audio. Now,
yes.
If you want it to be a full-time job, you know, streaming is difficult. I know a lot of people, like one of my roommates, who invested in everything that I had. They were like, I want all of this stuff because I'm going to stream, and like, they kind of stopped immediately. They're not consistent enough to build anything. So they put a ton of money into it that, you know, they were never going to get back or really fully use. So I would recommend going slow. I would say the best thing is the second monitor and the audio.
Yeah, I think a decent microphone, not a super crazy expensive one. The Yetis, I think that are between like 30 and 60 are good and will get you to stop sounding like a robot. And people do need to hear you, understand you. If your voice like burns their ears, they're not going to stay, no matter how good you are or how entertaining you try to be. So try to sound good. There's a lot of good YouTube videos about how to sound good.
Yeah.
Get your audio right, and make some time for those.
Yeah, lighting is not very important. I mean, if you have a little extra expendable money, this Blue Yeti that I have, I think it's pretty good, and it was not too expensive. It's literally like, I think it was sub 200 plug and play. I literally just put it in with a USB. There's no like anything. And I didn't have to mess with any of the settings. My original mic that I bought when I first upgraded was far more expensive, far more difficult to use and mess up, and it was not nearly as good or convenient. So something simple like this I think is good.
Yeah. What I would recommend, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but I would get a second monitor if you don't have one. Get an okay webcam, the kind of Logitech.
The C20 is the typical starting one. It's like $60.
It's just fine. Get a good microphone, and I would say don't buy anything else until you've streamed 100 hours and you're sure that you like it. That's what I would recommend.
I would also recommend that. I will say, someone mentioned the Elgato Stream Deck. Go ahead and look. I didn't allow myself to get an Elgato Stream Deck. It was an expense I didn't justify for a long time, and now that I have it, I love it. But it's definitely an extra. Don't buy it until you know you like streaming and you plan to take it further. It's certainly not great. Any tips for drafting Strixhaven? Yes. Download untapped.gg and look at my overlay setting so you guys can get all of my personal ratings on all the cards when you draft. Other than that, stay on your lane. Make sure you know which schools pair with each other. So if you're like in the Witherbloom deck, know green and know black, what the sister schools are.
Sure. This comes from Just Know on YouTube. What are your thoughts on the Mr. Beast and other big content creators doing collaborations with Wizards of the Coast? Would you like to go first?
I'll be kind of short and sweet. I think it's great, but I do wish that Wizards... I know it's probably different sides of the company that are working on this, but I do wish that Wizards would... I'm not salty that they're not giving their creators money in this way. I am a little salty that they are not being fair to us in many ways, like with the content creator program. Like, many of us are in their creator program. We're creating content for them free of charge every day. They use us for free promotion. They do all sorts of stuff, and they can't really keep us in the loop even. They can't send an email to us. It would be nice if they included us in some of their bonus promotions, and I guess from time to time they do. I've actually worked with EU Wizards a few times, and they've been pretty great. But I don't mind that they sign Mr. Beast and do all of these things and get, Anna Anna?
Yeah, Chess, Anna Rudolph. Yep.
I think those are great promotions. I just wish that they would also take care of what's at home a little bit as well.
Yes. I second that very strongly. I also think of what they do with Mr. Beast. I look at that, and I look at them working with streamers who don't usually play Magic. I don't see that as collaborating. I see that as marketing. They are coming to Mr. Beast with money to market their game, whereas collaboration sounds much more like we're going to work hand in hand for both of us. They are 100% not like... Mr. Beast isn't getting a ton out of playing Magic. Magic is getting a ton out of paying Mr. Beast.
I also, one of the things I mentioned when we were actually in the car on our way to lunch, a lot of people are mad. Mr. Beast is going to get paid how much for this? They could give that to the creators who are working for blah, 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 blah. Think of it this way too, though, guys. Mr. Beast will never stream Magic ever again. Any viewer that he brought to the table is going to inflate our numbers. They're going to be supporters of ours now. So that's not bad for the game. That's not bad for us. Yep. I think that the biggest thing that I wish is that Wizards would just keep us in the loop and like follow through on some of the promises that they make. Yeah,
just treat it with something that resembles, a mutual respect. I think that's all that we really ask for, to not be treated like an afterthought and have events canceled at the last minute. I think that's fair, but at this point, I don't necessarily expect it. We just kind of move on and take it as part of the lumps of being a content creator. But I know they could do better.
Definitely. Someone said, how long have we been streaming individually?
Okay, I really don't know. I have to look up this date someday. I think it's somewhere between like 4 and 5 years. I'm somewhere in that market, but I'm not positive. How about you?
So I had February was my 4-year streaming anniversary, and this month was my 3-year partner anniversary. So I've been partnered on Twitch 3 years as of this month.
Okay. Yeah, congratulations on 3 years as a partner as well. My 3-year partnership, I believe, is in October, like the end of October of this year. Mm-hmm.
Did you ever take public speaking course?
Did you ever speak in public? Did you?
Obviously not.
Did you?
Did you ever take a public speaking course or learn as you go?
My favorite class in high school was public speaking. And I know that's weird, but I was so excited when we had a speech/public speaking class that to get up and make people listen to what I frickin' had to say. And I enjoyed it so much that when I got to college, I got into the communications program. I majored in communications. I also minored in theater. My high school was too small to have a drama program. So the first exposure I got to theater was in college. So I dove into that. I took acting for the camera. I took stage acting. I took production. And I did all those things. And I got asked many times by my parents what the hell that was ever going to amount to. And here I am. And I get to look at my dad and say, 50,000 people listened to me yesterday, Dad. So look at all that communication I'm doing.
Someone said 100% silver quill. I'm a bit of the opposite. I hid from the camera. I never did any public speaking or theater or acting or anything like that. I literally I'm a very shy person too. I've never liked pictures. I shy away from them. I've just recently started doing like a couple of selfies because you kind of need to for like social media posts and things. Mm-hmm. But I've always like hid from the camera. I ditched school on picture day, and no, I'm serious. Like you won't find me in any.
I should have if you see my pictures.
If you won't find me in any of the yearbooks or anything. I hated it. I really do. Like I'm really shy. I literally, like, if I go to the pool or something, I keep my towel on until I'm, like, in the pool, essentially. I try to. Mm-hmm. I cower and shy away from, like, the limelight usually, which is a really weird occupation for me. But I loved magic and I loved competing, and I very quickly developed this ring of friendship in streaming, and that is so much better for me. Mm-hmm.
I also gotta say, I really like, there's a part of streaming and the theater aspect that since I developed a character for kind of my streams, I have so much fun with it. It's like taking me back to my theater days. So I do get to use that quite a bit. So I like being in character. I'm glad I took those classes.
I have, known you in this context, and we've traveled for magic, and I was in your streams a ton, and I stopped going for a little while because things got really hectic, and then I came back and you had really dove into this character in the span of like the time I just didn't we're both very busy, and I was just like, whoa, oh my gosh. And it was kind of amazing. But with me, my content, like I am would you agree with this statement that I am exactly as you see?
Yes. All the time. All the time. You are the character. Yeah, you live the character. Yep, exactly.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Saginaw Valley State University. I always wanted to go to the University of Michigan. It was my dad's favorite school. I cheered for the football team growing up, but I couldn't afford it. They didn't offer me very much for scholarships, and Saginaw Valley State University was the university both my mother and my grandmother graduated from. They offered me a full ride, paying for absolutely everything, and I became their first ever third-generation student graduate.
Wow, yeah. That's nice. Yeah. I went to San Diego State. Nothing too fancy. I have a degree in education and with an emphasis in earth science and a minor in marine biology. So nothing theater related.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that was probably a lot harder than what I did.
I will eventually be like a junior high earth science teacher is most likely where I will be when things are all said and done. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'll also say, obviously it helped to get a lot of scholarships, but I was really proud. I paid for all of my own room, board, meals, and things like that, and I got out of school without taking any loans. So that was always a goal of mine because my mom didn't have a lot of money to pay for it, and I didn't want to take on too much debt. So I was very proud of that. I don't get to share that very often.
All-time favorite set or block in Magic?
Ooh, there's so many. I always dodge this question. My answer is always the next one. because the promise.
That's a good one.
Yeah, the promise of the next set and the new possibilities, new planes, new characters, new worlds, new mechanics, new metas. That's what gets me excited about Magic. The fact that it keeps changing.
My favorite sea animal.
Your
Crabs?
favorite?
Jellyfish?
Crabs?
Crabs and jellyfish.
Crabs and jellyfish?
Yes.
Jellyfish plus crabs?
Yes.
What about a jelly crab?
I'm in.
Crabby fish.
I'm in.
Okay. What would mine be? I don't know. I don't know what my favorite sea animal would be. There's a bunch of them. I'll just go with the orca, the so-called killer whale. I watched a lot of Free Willy as a kid. This one is mostly for me. Is that fine with you?
Yeah, please.
I recall you once said that you played the first ever Pro Tour along with your sister. This says older sister, but it was actually a younger sister. Does she still play Magic? What does she think of the fact that you've grinded your way to a career in MTG all these years later? So my little sister her name is Kim, and she's 2 years younger than me. From the moment I started playing Magic, I came home from a Boy Scout camp where another of the scouts had a deck, and we had all shared it. And I went to the card store, and I got my first deck, and she came with me, and she got a pack, and she went on to make her own deck. She was my gaming partner, my playtest partner. When we both found out we were going to play in the first ever Pro Tour in New York, we started testing together. She helped me prepare for the event. We both went there and competed in the juniors division with between 300 and 400 players. Neither of us had ever played a tournament before at all. We hadn't even played against like other kids. And she finished 56th and I finished 55th. And we both qualified for Pro Tour Los Angeles, but we couldn't.
Wow.
But we couldn't afford it, so we didn't go and fell off the train. And we still traveled around the Midwest and tried to get back on. That was the only Pro Tour we ever did together, though. And she continued to compete with me right up until I graduated high school and went to college. Then she moved on, got into cheerleading, sports, and other things, and then went to college, got a degree, went to another college, got another degree, kept going till she had a doctorate in physical therapy, and now she is a mother of two, and she was running a practice, and now she's also looking for a job in academia. And I'm super proud of her, and she is super proud of me, and when she calls me, she likes to talk about all the good times we had in Magic the Gathering, and I miss her, and I hope she's doing great. And Kim, if you're out there, you know I love you, and
Aww.
Who would have thought it would happen like this? But she was one of only 5, I think, women at that Pro Tour, one of the very first, and for a lot of years, she took a lot of crap being the only woman in the room at all the things that we went to.
Nothing has changed.
But I don't know. It's one of the reasons that keeps me going, that I don't put up with that crap.
Yeah.
Because I've seen how my sister got treated for years and years and years. And she is smart, capable, could take out just about every other guy there except for me. And always gave me a run for my money. And she deserves respect. And I will keep fighting for people like her if I have the opportunity.
So I got into Magic through another game, through Mage Knights and Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm an only child, so I didn't have that sort of influence.
You're also telling me you started just going out playing tournaments, and you played limited GPs, and you cashed your first 3.
Yeah, I cashed, I don't know, I got really lucky.
As a young nerd girl, just going in there and cashing GPs. That's
very lucky. My first REL event was a GP that I just...
That's awesome. Yeah.
Happened to cash, which was pretty nice. Sometimes lucky. Beginner's luck. And I was like, oh, this is easy. I don't know what everybody's complaining about. And then I went on a huge dry streak after that, and I was like, oh, this is actually hard. Do I have any advice for content creators to deal with burnout?
Ooh, yeah. I'll go really quick.
Please.
The pre-recorded content helps a lot, but it's not an option for streamers. So it's something very YouTube unique, and it's hard to build, I think, a total content creation like career just on YouTube, because you have to get seen and you have to take every avenue you can. So you should be trying Twitch, and you should be trying to see if you can write articles for websites and doing all these things. So I guess the other tool that I have, because I've been caught there several times, I've been caught so many times in that place where I don't have videos stockpiled and I don't want to make a video today. Something's just going on in life that's got me. And what I try to remember is I always try to have a conversation with myself coming from the spot of, I am me and I'm talking to 12-year-old me who discovered this game and was so in love with it that's the only thing that he ever wanted to do. And if I could tell him that, hey, all you got to do today for your job to make thousands of people happy is come up with a magic deck and play for an hour or two and have fun. And like 12-year-old me would be like, yeah, that sounds freaking amazing. You are my hero. I get to be you. Like, it would have blown my mind. And it just gives me this little boost of just what I need, that this is still a game that I love, and I get to do something awesome. And I can usually get the job done pretty well.
Yeah, so being a streamer is a little tough in the way compared to other jobs. Yeah, our job is great. It's fun. It's amazing. But unlike a lot of other jobs, you can't be tired. You can't have a bad day. You can't be in a bad mood, because that projects onto your audience. And that's audience that you might potentially lose forever, or might come into your stream for the first time and not see you at your best. And I am, you know, definitely known for getting snarky or in a bad mood some days, but you have to really, really try to avoid that as best as you can. So burnout is not necessarily, it's harder to deal with than it is in a normal job, because you can't just go to your desk and put your head down and just do your job and then leave. That's not really an option. For me, I personally stream less Magic. I will sacrifice income and viewership for something I will enjoy. So if I'm having a bad day, or I'm feeling really burnt out, or yesterday Twitch chat was really mean to me, I'll go play WoW for a day. I will go play TFT. And yeah, I mean, I'll take a financial hit or whatever, but like, I still am providing content that then makes me happy and helps with that burnout. So
changing it up, just being true to yourself instead of trying to force it, would you say?
A little bit.
Yeah, few things make me feel worse than when I know I got salty on stream and probably lost some people. Like I carry that with me sometimes, and it really sticks in my head, and I know I let myself get salty, and that I don't want people to see me that way.
But it happens at every job, right? Everybody comes home and has a bad day at work. They got a write up, or they made a mistake, or someone spilled a drink on them, or whatever. But and then they get to be salty, and nobody thinks anything of it. But when you're in front of 230 people,
And they look to you for entertainment. They look to you for consistency. They're what they're choosing to do with their time away from that pressure. So it's just interesting.
Dan Can, we're gonna try to answer some questions from a lot of people. Just a heads up. You want to check and see if there's. I just would hate to end it and not have any of your YouTube viewers answered.
Oh, there's so many. There's over 175 questions here.
So while you look, I'm gonna talk a little bit about content creation business side. An LLC is a little bit more expensive to file your taxes, but it does save you on taxes potentially. So I was told that there's a line for LLC. I am not personally. I'm still sole proprietor, so I don't have that problem. I will say to look into what you can write off as a content creator, because you can write off a lot more than you think. So that would be my advice. I get to write off the square footage of this bedroom. I get to write off a lot of my cable or phone bill, because those are higher due to content creation. I can even write off a percentage of my electricity bill, because these lights aren't cheap. So there's a lot of things you can do as a creator. I wouldn't go in blind. Mm-hmm. But as far as making a lot of money and being LLC and things like that, take that a little bit more when you get there. You don't need to worry about that for a very long time. I
didn't incorporate for, I think, the first 2.5 years. Or no, it wasn't until the middle of last year I even incorporated. Yeah. So that that is a down the road thing. You will know if this is the kind of thing you need to handle.
Yeah, and you probably will be making enough to where you know that you can then figure it out and get a tax consultant. But like I haven't had that problem yet.
All right, this one from YouTube, also always a hot topic with my audience. Pick Pincourt asks, "What's your secret to avoid swearings?" So I'm probably one of the more wholesome MTG YouTubers. I don't swear at all, and I've had a lot of people tell me, like, it's because of monetization, right? It's because of being ad friendly. It's because of the algorithm. Do you make more ad money because you don't swear? Like, there's a lot of conspiracy theory about it. I didn't grow up in a house with people that swore. And my mom trained me from a young age not to swear, like, or in public or around people, and not at home either. And I just don't naturally do it.
I can tell you that is true.
Yeah, everybody around me might be absolutely going off, having drinks, having a good time, and I talk the same way, really. Yeah,
100% true. So, I have a potty mouth.
Yeah, my roller derby team, like, I give the pregame speeches, right? I always, for the biggest game of the year, I drop one F-bomb, and they know it's coming at this point too, because I've coached for 7 years. But every time it gets them, they're just like, he's serious. He really wants to win this game. Yeah. So I mean, it's not really a persona. It's really me. It's not an effort to suppress it in any way. I got asked once if I wanted to do a panel on censorship. Like, did I feel censored by YouTube because I didn't feel like I could swear? And I'm like, I'm going to disappoint you. This is just me. Like, this is how I talk.
I'm a weird blend of, like, legitimate curse words and then silly things. Like Jiminy Christmas, or someone in the chat saying what the fudge sickles. I say that, or son of a biscuit. I don't know why those are in my vocabulary, but it's not because I'm censoring myself. That's just literally how I speak.
Yeah, not a big conspiracy, just kind of how I was raised. Kind of crazy.
Same. Nerd mom swears like a sailor.
I also don't like cover my ears and hide in the corner when people swear around me, though. Like, it doesn't bother me. I don't run away from it or anything like that.
Same.
I've got another one if you want.
Go ahead.
Okay. Anfern Stanton asks, "How do you feel knowing you help people improve and get better at Magic consistently?"
People say I help them, but I don't really know if I believe them.
Oh, okay. It is one of the best feelings for me. Getting messages from people that, like, hit Mythic for the first time and believe it was a goal that they had and say it's because I helped them. Like, that means a lot to me. So it warms my heart deeply. So you should internalize that just a little bit more, because for me, that's one of the best things that can happen on a given day. When I'm not feeling great, but I get a message from somebody like, "Hey, thanks, I hit Mythic. I never could have done without your videos." I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go make another video and make it awesome because someone out there needs to hit Mythic today. Maybe not that dramatic, but you know.
No, you probably are that dramatic.
Maybe.
I'm Batman.
But yeah, I think that helping people achieve any kind of goal that they set for themselves, goals really are what they mean to you. Nobody should really be able to tell you whether or not getting Mythic matters. Like, you know whether or not that's something you want to do. And if I help you hit something that matters to you, you know, I'm very happy for you, and that's a feel good for me. So it spreads feel good around.
Aw, YOI says, not a question, but you both helped me get better with your specialties.
Yes.
Oh, it's like the Mario Party.
Oh, do we have... Where's our coins?
I know, we get 5 bonus coins if we high five correctly. Oh my gosh, Dan can do TVs, just cranking out questions.
Dude, he'll run out of points someday, right? It's a lot of content creator questions.
Do you remember the first deck you played?
Do you?
I do.
Go.
So I bought a mono white precon in a little box, right? And then I would buy packs. I'd buy one pack every Friday when I was a little kid, and then I'd span out the pack that I just bought, and then I'd fan out my deck and be like, this white card looks better than this white card, and then I'd switch them, and I would just slowly, so it was a bunch of 1s and 2s of that were just like super janky. I was running like one of every cop, like red cop in just like the main deck.
Circle of protection. Yeah, for the boomers.
And then I would just hope to like draw the correct color accordingly. Like, it was really bad. A bunch of beloved chaplains, and like the priest that gains you life with threshold, and the tapper that could tap 2 with threshold. It was pretty terrible. Yeah. The first deck I ever bought cards for that was like a 4 of deck that I was so proud of, I still have to this day. Traumatized Guilt Feeder.
I don't know that one.
So Traumatize is half your deck into your library.
Yep, okay.
Guilt Feeder is an 0/3 with Fear that deals damage based on cards in graveyard.
Oh.
So you just like lethal them.
Oh, it's a little combo. That's a nice one.
It used to be 3 colors. It used to have red, and it had like Browbeats and Blazing Specters.
Okay. The synergy.
I was an awesome little kid.
Yeah, you were vicious from the beginning. All right, so my first deck is not the same as like my first deck. The first deck I ever played was somebody else's. It was just a starter deck, just a 60 card starter deck. So it was all 5 colors. The rare was a Rock Hydra.
Okay.
Red, X, blah, blah, blah. Ton of text. Didn't really know how it worked, but like one of the first Hydras in Magic, a big red Hydra. And we would cut the deck in half and play against each other. And whoever had the Rock Hydra like felt like a big advantage, but just because you had a Rock Hydra didn't mean you had 2 mountains to cast it, because remember, it's 5 colors with like 20 land, and we're just cutting it in half. So like half the time we couldn't even play the cards we had. The first deck of my own, the rare was Titania's Song, which I didn't even know what it did. The best card I thought I had was a Crawworm, just 6 mana, green 4 for a generic 6/4 was my favorite card in the deck. And the first deck that ever felt like mine was when I built my first like mono black deck, and I just kept adding cards to it. And I didn't know the rules, but I had something like 3 Demonic Tutors and 4 Mind Twists and 8 Nightmares in the deck. And yeah, that was the deck I played for like my first 2 years.
That's awesome. My little mono white out of a box. It got stolen like 10 years later, and I was heartbroken.
No.
But I still had it for a very long time. It got stolen at a place called Frankensons, which is in a very famous place in Southern California, but I was very sad. Whoever stole it, I hope you're watching this, and I hope you know I still hate you.
We'll get you someday. How do you feel about the current power creep in Standard? This is from Shapeshifting Assassin. So how do we feel about the current power creep in Standard? I think it's inevitable that it will fluctuate up and down. I feel like I've watched it like the seas, like things moving in and out, things changing, just like seasons that go. I remember Affinity when Mirrodin came out was absolutely broken. Urza's block was absolutely broken with Tolarian Academy when it was standard legal. And everybody felt like the energy set Kaladesh was absolutely broken and oppressive for a long time. And we're just kind of going through another period of that, I think. And I hope that it corrects itself and that people who like a more powered down format get to experience that soon. My money's on that they will. I've kind of learned not to rant and rail about these too much and ride it out and just try to remember to have fun.
I mean, part of why I don't like Constructed is just because they are too powerful. I like my games low to the ground and grindy. I don't like, oh, well, whoever resolves their Teferi first is gonna win. Like, I don't particularly enjoy that. Do you think Arena should keep adding older sets, potentially, to make the modern format?
What do you think?
I mean, I don't particularly like mod. I mean, I don't like Constructed, so it's a bad question for me. I mean, I thought it was really weird that they announced Pioneer at the same time as Historic. I think that I thought they were going to announce that there was going to be a new format in paper that would match Historic, essentially. And I think that would have been fine. I do think they should probably expand it to Pioneer, because I don't like that there's a format on Arena that isn't in paper for you to play competitively for tournament purposes. So I would like them to at least expand to Pioneer, or have Pioneer cut at the knees and match Historic. One of the two. Like, we can't playtest Pioneer on, you know, on a Arena, and they were announced at the same time practically, so why is that? You could say the same thing about Modern, but you can't change everything in a day, but they just made that worse, I think.
I think that they should keep printing old cards and introducing them to Arena. I think that it's probably one of the greatest assets that Magic has right now, is this history with like nostalgia plays that they can make. And we see how successful nostalgia plays are. People are suddenly like miss going to Blockbuster, and they watch Stranger Things and they get this rush of nostalgia. Playing some of the earliest Magic cards you ever played does something similar for me. So that's an asset that Magic has. And they would be best served by continuing to introduce old cards to Arena to get people to play with those cards again, because it gets people excited. Even though Historic Anthology 4 had almost no impact on the competitive tournament metagame from Historic, it sold a ton because there were a ton of people really excited to play with Death Shadow, because they played with Death Shadow back when it was a tournament viable card. And nostalgia plays are definitely a moneymaker for them. And because there's money in it, they're going to keep doing it. They'll eventually get to things closer to Pioneer and Modern. I don't know how long it will take, but I don't think that's the goal. The goal is just to print more money.
So here's the problem with expanding into older formats at the same pace. Like, Arena is already insanely expensive just keeping up with the new cards.
Yes.
And unlike Moto, you have no control over your collection once you have it. So if they were to go back and reprint an old set, it's going to have a ton of reprints that we're currently getting in the current sets.
Yeah.
And we can't dust or sell or trade those cards away. So you're having to like dump more money in. Like, when Jumpstart came out, half the rares were reprints.
Yep.
So it was just like a terrible economy system. That's forcing us, like, you know, I don't need 12 copies of Windrider Sphinx.
Right.
But it forces you to keep them if they're in different sets. And then you have no control over like dusting or selling or trading, so then it's just terrible. So now if you ramp that up by 2 or 3x, if they're re-releasing old sets and going on both sides, right? Like new set, old set, new set, old set, new set, old set. It's just going to make everything twice as expensive with no resellability, which I don't think is feasible in the long run.
It will be brutal for sure. Yeah, I wish they've got to find a way to deal with that. Like 3 different copies of the same rare because they're in 3 sets. And right now they don't have a lot of incentive to. They just see it as printing money. But eventually there's just going to be no reason to buy any of the product.
So here's part of the problem, I think. And this touches on one of the other videos we were actually talking about doing, is that I think they're making this big push to be like the next Hearthstone, right? Like they're bringing in huge creators and trying to draw on those people. They followed a lot of the same models as other card games for online, right? But they kept the same high Magic price point, which I think is pricing out a lot of the potential viewership. So the Magic esports tournaments will never be as big as Hearthstone because a large percentage of the population just can't afford to play at a competitive level. You know, they can't buy all the new cards and craft them. And the best example I have of that is you can get a tier 1 Runeterra deck for the same cost as 2 Mythic Wild cards.
Wow.
Seriously. Like,
okay.
So the game doesn't have the ability to grow on the scale that Wizards wants to because they kept that same expensive paper product cost with all of the limitations of online gameplay as far as your collection. Like, you have no control over it. Like you do in Hearthstone and Runeterra, like those cards are just now nothing.
Yeah, when you price out the young market, like the people like 13 to 19, when you price that group out of playing the game, they have competitors that they don't have any problem going to Runeterra or Hearthstone or just playing different games. They have millions of choices now of how to spend their time, and they just don't have to play Magic.
So, like, when they do the Mythic Invitational and stuff like that, like, their viewership is going to take a huge hit. So I feel like they're striving for something, but then cutting themselves off at the knees and limiting their ability to actually attain it. Mm-hmm. But that's just one humble streamer's opinion. I don't know. A lot of people say it's never been cheaper to play Magic as it is on Arena, because you I have a free to play account, I have all the cards, but I have to literally work. It's my job. I have a free to play account and I make it work because I do it every day for 8 hours a day, which is not feasible for the average 15-year-old kid who's going to be tuning into the Mythic Invitational or the Hearthstone equivalent.
It's true. At least one format in Magic needs to be more accessible to reach their goals. Why Magic? Wow.
That's a good one. Oh, I know why you played Magic.
Why?
Because what's it called? Oh no, what's it called? What's the space alien show?
I feel like she had a really good one-liner.
I just don't know the name of the show. Oh no.
Space alien show?
With Scully or whatever.
X-Files.
Oh yes, because the X-File game got canceled. That's why you play Magic.
Okay, you did that on purpose. You're making me tell this story.
I did.
Guys, I have a secret that I'm going to confess to all of you. There's been a bit of a conspiracy, you might say, and we've had to keep this under wraps in maybe a special vault, files, maybe under an X persuasion. So in the 90s, a faraway time when things were oh so different than they are now, everybody had a trading card game. Everything tried to be a trading card game because Magic was taking off. And a young CGB was attending Origins, a convention in Ohio, and looked to his left after bombing out of the national tournament, but we don't need to talk about that, the National Magic Tournament. I looked to my left, and they're playing X-Files, the card game. The national championships for X-Files, the collectible trading card game. And little did they know, I had played X-Files, the trading card game, with my sister, and we were both pretty good, but my sister was still in U.S. Nationals, the Magic the Gathering U.S. Nationals. So she wasn't able to play. So I sat down, and it was Limited, basically the X-Files version of Limited. And I got a Dana Scully, which is a very good card, I'll have you know, in the X-Files card game. And over the next 6-7 hours, whatever it was, well into the night, I battled a bunch of the finest X-Files card game competitors who had almost all of them that I played, at least, picked up the game that very day. And I emerged the U.S. National X-Files champion of the world, because they didn't do it in any other countries. And a week later, the game was canceled, discontinued, gone. Poof.
So now we know that CGB is the reigning world champion, but he only started playing Magic because X-Files was canceled.
Gone. Couldn't. I retired undefeated X-Files world champion.
Undisputed, yeah.
I needed to fill that void, and
honestly,
Magic.
Honestly, I would put that in my Twitter bio. I'd put that on the website. You do not milk that enough.
It's true.
The comedic factor is so high. I would literally just say that all the time.
Just sit down. Hey everybody, welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, reigning world champion of the X-Files trading card game, and today we're gonna play some Magic today, since the X-Files isn't available.
You're missing so much free value from that.
Okay.
So yeah, you need to put that in your Twitter bio. Link X-Files, the official account. Do it. It's pure gold.
I will say, why Magic? It was the first thing I really, in my life, I was picked on in school. I wasn't good at basketball, which was the only big sport that they played in my town. My dad wanted me to be a jock, but I wasn't any good at it. X-Files. Magic.
See? The truth comes out.
Was the first thing that I found that I felt like I was good at. It gave me a confidence that I had talent at something, that I could go on to do something special. Whereas before, I just didn't even know why It was like, why do I even exist if I can't play basketball well? You know, for some guys, like, especially if you have a dad that's like that, like, sports can be your meaning. It feels like your meaning to live. And finding something of my own to put myself into meant a lot. So that's why Magic. And I've never let it go.
I was teased and bullied a lot as a kid. Like my mom would keep me home from school sometimes, bullied. Yeah, I would refuse to leave the classroom kind of things. So when I found like my Magic and D&D group, like, it was the first time I really felt like I had friends and I had like a safe place to be myself. And like, it was the first time coming from like a school environment that I really had fun.
Yeah.
And so Magic was like a really good extension of that.
I think that's a beautiful place to leave it, to be honest. Yeah. I could find another question, but it won't be such a dramatic and big story. Thank you for watching this video. As always, we will see you in the next video. Please check out, like, and subscribe MTGNerdGirl on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and on some of my videos. I'm sure that you'll see her around. So say bye to everybody.
Bye, guys.
You're cool.
I looked at the wrong... Bye.